Thanks again for stopping in.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving to your faith, family, and friends. God bless. Okay. Going to make a motion? Oh, before I do that, I'm going to do our dedications. This meeting is dedicated in memory of Edward Hart Jr., James Robert Pettibone, Lois Vendetti, and our dear friend, Richard Wolf. We want to thank his beautiful family for sharing their dad and husband with all of the children that benefited from his kindness and talents. He also was a West Seneca Baseball Hall of Famer. Madam Clerk, if you would take the roll. Present.
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 I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from November the 5th work session.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Approval of the minutes from the November 5th town board meeting.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I'd like to start the legal items with this, providing a public hearing that was held on October the 15th. This meeting and the approval process of the budget with a public comment period that extended to October 22nd, 2018. Tonight, the town board has the following actions it may take. We're going to adopt the tax levy override of the local law. We'll adopt the letter of authorization to enforce the various unpaid accounts as assessment. We'll vote to adopt the benefit basis budget, and we'll vote to adopt the ad valorem budget. First item is a motion to adopt the local law of the tax levy override.
Second.
I'm sorry, I left out the 2018-5.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Second motion for the adoption of the authorization to hereby adopt this resolution that the town board adopt the special assessments indicated on the attached letter of authorization as part of the 2019 Town of West Seneca budget.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Make a motion to adopt the 2019 benefit basis budget.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Motion to adopt the 2019 ad valorem budget.
Second.
Anything on the question?
Yes, question, Supervisor. There's a few changes I would like to introduce tonight if I can.
Yes, please, Councilman.
Change your gaps. It was a good budget that you put together, it really was. You already made 56 cuts, so you didn't leave us a lot of room to make further cuts. So, in addition to the cuts that you have already proposed, do you want me to do these by code or just the name?
Just if you could do it by the name, and if you have them, then we'll ask you to give them to the council.
I do. Town attorney, the codification updating, I'd like to reduce that budget line by $2,500. The buildings and grounds, town community center, cleaning and other supplies, I'd like to reduce that budget by $5,000, that budget line by $5,000. Buildings and grounds animal control for the natural gas, I'd like to reduce that line item by $1,000. Buildings and grounds ice rink, natural gas, I'd like to reduce that amount by $2,000. And sanitation department for tires, I'd like to reduce that by $10,000, for a total of $20,500.
Anything further? Okay, can I hear?
Just on the question, I think there is an opportunity also, I know the chief of police has requested 3 new positions. I believe 2 in January, chief, and 1 in September or August
Yeah, these are not new positions, they are replacements.
for retirements, yes. They're still
Correct.
anyway. I'm going to suggest that all 3 of these officers be appointed during the summer months for the second academy.
That will be very difficult to do, but if that's what I'm willing to do, that's what I will do. That will be difficult.
I'd like to know why you would think it would be difficult. I mean, I think it's important that the public know your opinion.
Because we will be 5 people short going into the summertime. The extent of overtime will be extensive. Overtime, although sometimes people believe that it is better to pay overtime than benefits, which has always been a call, that is not a wise choice when it comes to law enforcement, just because of fatigue factors. You get these gentlemen out here working 12, 18-hour days. There are things in place for other industries such as bus drivers and limo drivers and truck drivers and pilots that limit the amount of hours that they are worked due to fatigue. And here we're gonna stress these men to work, you know, and you give them a firearm to carry and drive a 3,000-pound car. I just think it is not a very wise choice.
How long have we had these vacancies?
We had 2 in the spring, we have an additional 2 this fall, and number 5 will be in the spring. So, I mean, I take direction from the board. I think it is not a wise choice to do. There is a delay between the time of appointment and the time that they're ready to go. If we were to hire 2 in January, they wouldn't even be on the street until mid-July, when the heaviest part of the overtime is gonna hit. So, I've been working short for several years, and I just think it's time for the public safety and the safety of the men and women who work for me, that these positions start to be replaced. And we will go into 2020 with 10 scheduled retirements, on top of the 5 that we're short. So you will talk about possibly 15 people short within the department, which is, you know, of my staffing of 68 is an incredible amount of positions that will be vacant.
Councilman, Supervisor, your thoughts?
Well, I think first, I believe first you would have to vote on the amended budget as proposed. The timing of the hiring going forward is not part of the budget process.
Correct, it's just the amount of money.
Well, it's still in the budget, so
Right, it's currently right now 69.
I support the chief in his concerns, and they are my concerns. So I believe that the opportunity we have is in front of us, and we need to continue with the way we set out our plan. And so my support will go with the chief, so we can get those into the academy as soon as possible.
Councilman?
Well, I'm a little bit perplexed on whether it could be part of a motion. Right now, we're just voting on the budget.
I think it's just a conversation, you agree also.
It's also, I mean, I could actually make this proposal to amend the budget, which I believe is what you're actually doing at this point.
There's a couple of conversations I've had throughout this whole budget process. This was a very difficult, it was a difficult process to get to these numbers. Like you said, the supervisor had already made 56 cuts to the proposed budget. She didn't leave us much low-hanging fruit, so finding these was there. I've stated many times over the past that I moved to West Seneca because of the schools, the West Seneca schools and the police department. I think the temperature or the temperament out there is not nice to be a police officer right now. I would support, as much as I'd love to save the money, I would support the chief of police on this right now.
Okay, well, thank you. I know I can count, so I will not make this.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Hart and Hanley.
Thank you for the input.
Moving forward, I would like to make.
Just one more thing, I just want to say, the savings would have been $200,000. That's not a lot of savings in a $40 million budget anyway.
The total increase, or,
I think we have to vote on that.
yes, I was just giving Gene some information, but I'm just gonna move ahead. I hereby make a motion to adopt the Town of West Seneca 2019 ad valorem budget, which includes general highway funds as previously filed by the town supervisor, known as the preliminary 2019 ad valorem budget, with the amendments set forth on this document filed with the supervisor.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. If you just want to give those changes to Jacqueline Felser, our counselor.
Just give supervisor.
Thank you very much. Okay, and now we're just moving on to item number 1, under communications.
No, Sheila,
Yes?
you gotta do the public comments on the communications.
Thank you, Matthew. Anyone from the public that has any comments on communications? Thank you.
So what,
Moving on
so
to-
what is the tax increase? What are we looking at?
The tax increase is about $46 a year.
What is the percentage?
For, the percentage comes in at 3.9,
3.82.
3.82, thank you, with his changes. 3.82, it's about, right now, that was a savings of about $3.91 a month, so it's about $46.87 a year.
So on top of the 8% last year, are we excessive or?
Okay, sir, I'm not gonna talk that way. If you wanna come up to the microphone and talk about this in communications of the public, you're more than welcome. Right now, we're moving on to comments of the communications. Okay? Thank you. Item number 1 is Small Business Saturdays. Kindly move to recognize the attached proclamation in regards to Small Business Saturdays. Whereas the town of West Seneca.
Sheila, she got up late again.
What is this?
She got up late after you already started.
Okay, can I have your comment, Mrs. Kim?
My impression of being able to speak to the agenda items would be to speak to all of the agenda items or just for communications?
Communication.
And that's the way it's been in the past?
Well, first and foremost, Mrs. Kim, as much as we've been asked to do this, we've done it actually 8 times or I don't know how many, but no one comes up. Last meeting, I forgot to do it. But more importantly, Mrs. Kim's, if you have a comment on communications, feel free to ask us. If not, we're gonna move ahead with the communication.
I was just asking if this was a new policy.
It's not a new policy, Mrs. Kim's, it's something you asked for.
Mrs. Kins, I think
It says right here, public comments on communications.
the legal items that you saw there were subject to public hearings previously, so there will be no more comments on that.
Even though you made changes to the.
Right,
to
the comment period is closed.
Even though we amended the comment period and closed.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone further? All right, moving on to item number 1, Small Business Saturday, and we move to recognize the attached proclamation in regards to Small Business Saturday.
Second.
No, that's okay, the proclamation is attached. Anyone have any questions? Okay, very good. We're just encouraging you to get out, vote, get out and shop, yes, support our small businesses in our community. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 2 is kindly approve the attached resolution regards to the New York State Land Banking Act.
Second.
Anything on the question?
Yeah, I have a question. This, for the ball. This is gonna address the house at 114 Edson Street, West Seneca.
Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 3 is from Jacqueline Belzer, our town clerk. Kindly terminate Jacqueline Kuhn as part-time temporary records clerk effective November 8, 2018, authorizing the supervisor to complete and sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 4 is also from Jacqueline Felser, our town clerk. Kindly appoint Caroline King as a part-time temporary records clerk at a rate of $15 an hour effective November 13, 2018 through June 30th, 2019. Also set her rate of pay as part-time clerk at $15 an hour effective November 13th, authorizing the supervisor to complete and sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Just a
Aye.
question real quick to point out that this is part-time being paid under a records grant out of the town clerk's office, I believe. The work's actually being done in the assessor's office.
Right, that's document management.
I believe the grant was for 50,000.
It is, and we're slowly moving out some of the file cabinets. When you go down to the assessor's office, you'll see that the cabinets have been reduced. I think there's probably 6 or 7, and by the end of this project, all the cabinets will be removed, and we're going to move some furniture around in there and paint the walls, and this way, those upgrades that are so necessary, that'll be the last office in the town to go under some remodeling, if you will. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 5 is from Mary Josephek, our senior therapist. So kindly change the status of Mary Ann Gallo to part-time ceramic instructor for West Seneca Senior Center to part-time seasonal, effective Monday, November 19th to Monday, December 31st, 2018, authorizing the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item 6 is also from Mary Josephek. Kindly change the status of Mary Rose Bless, part-time food service worker for West Seneca Senior Center to part-time seasonal, effective Monday, November 5th, 2018 to Monday, December 31st, authorizing the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 7 is also from Mary Josephek. Kindly change the status of Carol Kennedy, part-time food service worker for West Seneca Senior Center to part-time seasonal, effective Monday, November the 19th, 2018 to Wednesday, December 19th, and authorize the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Would like to accept the reports from Jeffrey Schieber, Code Enforcement Officer, Building and Plumbing Report for October of 2018.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Approval of the warrant.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Anyone from the public that has any comments, please come up to the microphone. It is not necessary to give us your name. You can make your comment.
Susan Kim's 99 Covington. I was looking at the warrant, I noticed that there were charges for credit cards. And I'm wondering, is there a credit card policy within the town, and how many employees have credit cards?
We have a credit card policy. It's something that we implemented when I became a councilwoman. We found that AmeriCorps had like 40 credit cards. Highway has one, the finance office has one, the police department has one.
I believe even to use those cards, though, the chief
Sign
of
them out.
police or the highway superintendent would require the employee to sign out, and then they're required to return all duplicate receipts. I know the police department is very detailed in theirs, and I believe the highway is also.
Yes, they are, and that's part of the credit card policy.
So when I do an audit of those claims, I look at all of those charge slips, which sometimes can be very lengthy, and I look for unusual type purchases, and to be honest with you, I don't see many. They look within the realm of whatever responsibility that individual making the purchase had.
So is there a limit on, that they can use at one time on the card, or?
Well, now with our purchase order, they can't purchase anything without the liaison's approval, anything over 2,500, and that's something we've been trying to implement for a long time. So now going forward, there'll be no purchases without that liaison.
Anything under 25, or under 25 is purchased with the approval of the department only, so.
So I was wondering, health benefits and benefits in general, they're offered to the supervisor and they're offered to
I don't get health benefits.
So is it because you turned it down or because they're not available?
It's not offered to the supervisor's position or to the councilman's position.
Okay, so it's been eliminated as,
Correct.
Yes, about 4 years ago.
can you tell me if we have any part-time employees that participate in our health plan?
We do not.
You didn't even paying into it?
No.
Okay. And I want to thank you. Oh, I did have one more
Sure.
comment. On Veterans Day, we had our leaves picked up. And I was wondering why it was that we had people out there getting possibly 2.5 times their pay to pick up leaves when they could have done it possibly.
That's the question for Matthew.
Yeah, we have to get the leaves up. My phone is ringing off the wall because the leaves are not picked up.
would it be cheaper to do it possibly on a Saturday, time and a half instead of 2.5 times?
All they got is time and a half, same thing.
I
They got time
understand
and a
what you're
half.
saying, but they also, on top of that, receive their holiday pay, correct?
Sure, but that,
So that.
right,
that
they're only
equates to
getting their
2.5
time and a
times?
half.
Pardon me?
They're only getting their time and a half for that. They would've got the holiday pay anyway. So they're only getting the time and a half. In fact, I've cut 2 days this year. Election day and this past Saturday, we didn't work leaves. We're full-blown leaves, as you can see, the snow came. We get the same question every year. Every year for the past 9 years that I've been highway superintendent. We gotta get the leaves up so they don't clog the drains, and we can get them up before the snow comes.
And I guess my question was that instead of doing on Veterans Day where it is a holiday and they have holiday pay on top of that, overtime is only time and a half. So if they work after 3:30 any given day or possibly on a Saturday, would that not work out a little cheaper?
No. They're still getting the holiday pay no matter what if they're sitting at home. So when they come in for the 8 hours, we're just paying them the time and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good question, I understand where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, it would be the same pay, whether they work Veterans Day or Saturday.
Yeah, how are we doing on reports and where are we now?
But way behind. Way behind because we started actually, we started October 22nd. October 29th is when we went into our zones. From the 22nd to the 29th, we went to all the heavy areas. You know, where they did come down, October 29th. So right now, we're in zone 3. We've been around the whole town 1.5 times. We are in zone 3 for the second time.
Could I make just one comment to that? I am in zone 1. Generally, when you come around the first
Sure.
time for us, every leaf is still left on the tree because it's so early in the season.
And there's been other times where they're down.
Been here since 1976, counting probably 3 fingers if that happened.
I'd like you to come and see me next year, or late October, and I'll take you right where we go.
Thank you.
Put that on your calendar, Mrs. Kim. You gotta
Yep.
drive around and do it.
Good evening, Gary Dixon, 543 Union Road.
Again, you don't have to give us your name or your address.
Oh, I know I don't have to, I don't mind doing it, thank you. So I believe it was the last town board meeting when it was mentioned that, I believe it was Mr. Hanley said workman's comp was going up 12%, and you guys expected that already the budget was gonna be over 4%. So I think you said you got a big bill for workman's comp,
We've gotten
the town did.
5 or 6 bills this year for workers' comp, but the insurance rate, I believe, is going up 12.8%, if I'm correct.
Right, and that was since the preliminary budget. So is this budget, how is this budget taking those increased costs into account?
You hope that your people don't get hurt. It's a roll of the dice there, it really is. We do the best we can, we hired a new administrator, they meet with the employees, they teach, help them. Supposed to meet with them and show them how to do proper lifting. So if we could cut down on the injuries, the 12.8% would be moved because there would be no injuries, so.
But more importantly, I think when Bill's telling you about the awards, these are awards from injuries from many years ago that have settled. And so they're well over 500,000 in settlements. And unfortunately, it all came this year to this budget.
Right, well, my point is, if those bills came after the preliminary budget or the tentative budget, then,
No, sir, it came in this year's budget. It hit this
It hit this
budget.
well, that's what Mr. Hanley said. There was a discussion, and, we could go to the tape, that the budget appeared to be already over 4%, the necessary increase.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I said, but what I meant is next year, we're expecting a 12.8% increase in rates.
Correct. That's what he
And I
said.
believe he was saying that it was this year's budget that was going to be over because of the unexpected.
I mean, 2018.
Right, it's this year's budget that is gonna be. that
And
line
we
will
have
be-
funds in the budget this year, we'll be able to cover those costs.
That's how it works.
So, 3 months ago, there was a very animated discussion about the need to have public hearings for fire pits and the trees. I remember a resident came up here quite agitated about trees that could potentially fall on her house. And everybody said, oh yeah, you're right, and we don't have a law about it, but we need a law, so we'll have a public hearing. And the same thing with the fire pits. There was, oh, we can't do anything because that's DEC, but we should have a local law, we'll have a public hearing. So it's been 3 months. What's the plan for the public hearings?
Jeffrey?
I think it was 3 months ago, we drafted.
Yeah, it was almost exactly.
We
We're
drafted.
working on it, but go ahead, Jeffrey.
The town, yeah, the town attorney has my draft. I believe the chief of police has that as well, because the chief of police is, police officer is involved in that as well. Just awaiting the town attorney's comments, so it can be moved forward. So that's, I would say, more than 50% on the way, would be my guess.
That's how it works. Yes,
Well, wouldn't you like to have public input prior to writing the law?
that's what we do. We have a public hearing after the laws. the
Written,
language
after it's
is
written, what I'm saying is, wouldn't you like to have
It's
before
not
it?
written. No, what
We give
do
the
is we-
public a draft of the law.
Right.
And
And
then we
then
have a
we
public
take
hearing.
comments from the public, and if changes are appropriate, according to our attorney or whoever, then we'll make those changes. If there are suggestions on it, and they're good suggestions, and they're workable suggestions, we'll take them,
That's how it works.
and we'll change them.
You will have a chance, everybody will have a chance to speak on those two, local laws.
When might that be? I mean, it's been 3 months already. Ash trees can still fall down.
Here's something I can share with you. Our town attorney last year, going through the budget process, our town attorney, past attorneys used to give work out because they were busy. Our town attorney took on and saved the town $325,000 by keeping the work in-house. He's a busy guy, so I mean, a fire pit compared to $325,000 in savings is still important, but it might not be at the top of that list. He saved the taxpayers $325,000 by doing the work himself instead of contracting it out. So he's a busy guy, that's why.
Well, yeah, but like the issue last meeting about the term limits, there are other towns that have laws, that we could just incorporate. Could I just finish, please?
No,
Really
we
appreciate
can't.
it. Oh,
There's
okay.
only one that I know of, and you're trying to make this a big political issue. And I'm sorry, Gary, but I'm not gonna take it.
No, I'm trying to make you guys responsive, because plus,
We are
the people that go to
responsive.
these
We are
meetings,
very
no, you
responsive.
guys don't listen to, you don't listen. Was there anything that the public suggested at the public hearing that you incorporated? No. You guys don't listen, and at least, that's certainly my opinion, and I bet it's the opinion of a lot of people in town.
I strongly disagree with you, Gary, as you can tell.
Good, and I'm not gonna interrupt you when you say it. Thank you.
Anyone further?
I'd just like to say that I support the replacement of the policemen. I mean, we replace highway when somebody retires or, dies or anything. The policemen are very important, and I don't want a guy that's tired running around with a gun.
Thank you, Mrs.
Thank you.
Toy. Anyone further?
Matthew, I would just like to ask, what do we do in zone 4 with the leaves that have all the snow on them? I know that it's a mess.
Well, the good news is it's supposed to get up to the 40s this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we'll be able to pick them up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether, even if you pack them up, they're so wet, we can't lift them.
No, I know. We have the high lifts out there, and our vacuums are very powerful. They'll get them up.
I know they were on my street today, and they're using them, I live.
Yeah.
And they seem to pick them up quite well, quite easily, even with
Yeah.
the snow.
But if they see the pile, they know what's under there.
Okay,
They'll
thank
get
you.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone further?
Susan Gibbons, I'd like to thank this board for letting us get up here and speak and bring up issues that bother us. We don't do it to torment you, we don't do it to upset you. we do wonder when a process does take longer. We've been talking about fire pits for a few years now. It is a health issue in some cases. It's not just that we want to get up and complain about it. So, when we get upset, or you get upset, it doesn't help either side. Someone has to have a cool head in this, and we shouldn't have to feel bad about asking. We elected you to do a job for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Counts. Anyone further?
Hello, board, and I won't give my name. It makes everybody happy. I'd like to talk about a different issue. I'd like to talk about open foil. There was a woman who stood up here a 4 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and talked about the opioid epidemic. And it came to the point of open foil, and she said to the police department, you have an open foil with her because it's public information that shows she can just gather that information. She doesn't have to foil for it. So that's part of my point. And we certainly understand that it can't be in the matter of personnel. So we understand that on the get-go about a FOIL and what you have the right to ask for. Then last week, Mr. Hanley, and rightfully so, boasted about our A rating from the Open Organization Committee. Government program. Talked about that, and rightfully so. We should be happy about that. But I think as it applies to open FOIL, I think we can do better as a government. We don't have to follow what everybody else says. We can actually be the leaders and do more. So my point goes to the governor in 2018 started what's called a New York State debut of open FOIL website. So it's an online system New York State has done. It deals with a FOIL request for 59 state agencies and public authorities. So the information's out there, the governor believes in it, it's a big push now. So my point is that, one more point, that Robert Friedman, the executive director of the system, said that it's revolutionary, that it should make life easier for everybody, open FOIL, you don't have to search, you don't have to go online, you don't have to fill out the request, you don't have to wait for 3 months for the information. And then through some of my research, I came across Tim Hoffer, Communications Director for the Empire Center for New York Policy and Management. He has a website called seethroughnewyork.net, where you can go online, you can Google the police contract, the union contract, and all that information. So it makes life much easier in that sense. There's two types of FOILs, Jeff probably obviously knows. There's process information driven requests, and there's data driven requests. So it's the information, how it's put out there. And again, certainly we understand personnel, that type of information. So why can't, in our sense, in the town of West Seneca, provide information on a regular basis in a timely manner to put it on site, to put it on the website? There's two suggestions I'd like to make. One is to implement proactive disclosure by putting fact-driven records, process-generated records online to make it easier for everybody to find. For example, the police contract, just using that because he's here. You have to go, it's not online, you have to FOIL it if you want it, or you can go to the New York State website. So it is out there, it's just not accessible to people in West Seneca who look at our website. And the second is the
Can I
idea.
just stop you right there?
Sure.
They can move to another website and
That's
find
true.
it though.
Okay. But my point is, that's one
I mean,
example.
we could put the link up there if that's what you're asking for, that's not a hard.
I'm asking for that, all of that. Anything to make it easier. And it's
Absolutely.
not some revolutionary idea, it's being done by New York State. I think we should put all that information out there, and I understand the concern about timely manner, and you can't do it right after the meeting and that type of thing.
Are you talking about meeting minutes right away?
No, not even the meeting minutes. I'm just talking about regular information. We could put a number of different things on the website that are more accessible to people so they don't have to FOIL. Well, I'll reverse the question to you. What's the last thing that somebody might have FOILed? Mrs. Kim, I think you FOILed something, a couple weeks ago or longer than that, where you have to FOIL information to find it. My point is I would just like to make it more accessible so people don't have to hunt for it. That's my concern.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a good night. Thanks so much. Okay. All right, so,
I mean, actually, the PBA contract is on the town
It is,
website.
I
It's
know
on,
that.
but it's on the finance office, which, you know, that's kind of counterintuitive, but it is there. They're all there.
Yes, they are. Thank you. They are all online. Jeannie can charge me, look, so they're all online. They are all online. Anyone further? Okay, Mr. Jeffrey Sheber, Code Enforcement Office, do you have anything for us tonight, sir?
No, I do not.
Very good to see you. Lauren Massett, do you have anything for us?
I just want to remind the public that Breakfast with Santa tickets are on sale up until this upcoming Monday, November 26th, and there is a holiday skate this Friday. It's the day after Thanksgiving, from 12 to 1:50. Regular admission fees apply. However, there will be no recreational skating this Wednesday and Thursday due to the holiday to allow our staff to spend time with their families on Thanksgiving. And ID cards are now being issued at our office.
Yes, very nice.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Chief Jens, how are you this evening?
Good.
Do you have anything for us?
Just like to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. You know, the Wednesday night is usually the biggest bar night of the year. We will have extra patrols out, just to escort anybody where they need to be, depending on their level of sobriety. So, keep that as a warning. Also, a reminder that the overnight parking ban is in effect. So if we have out-of-town guests or whatever, make sure that you make arrangements to get them off the street. That's all I got.
Thanks, Chief. Matthew English, Highway Superintendent. Anything for us tonight, Matthew?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. Rest that throat. Jacqueline, do you have anything for us? Our town clerk? No? Life is good. Councilman Hart, do you have anything for us?
Yes, I'd just like to announce that Carl Spencer has been appointed by myself to the Environmental Commission. Carl's been active in the town for quite a while.
Environmental?
Excuse me, he's on the environmental, to the
Ethics.
Ethics Board.
Very good.
Sorry.
Very good.
He's been active in the Environmental Commission. He did a lot of work in helping, assisting in writing our new tree ordinance. He's active in the community. He actually teaches political science at Erie Community College, and he works for the county of Erie, I believe, in Child Protective Services. And I think he'll be a good appointment to that board.
Thank you, Councilman.
And also, Jeff, I know we had a conversation, there were some individuals who were concerned about the numbers of electrical violations, and the conversation revolved around those electrical violations, and there were accusations that there were numerous re-examinations of different projects, and I was wondering, you've completed a study of that, and I think you had some information you could have shared.
Correct. After the last town board meeting, there was some requests made for, quantities and what was being done out of our office. The following day, we took all the numbers from our office, which included some time frames with the first thing, so it was from the beginning of the year until, last town board meeting was when the reports were generated from. We looked at the number of letters being sent out of our office as a whole. That was approximately 700 letters
For what period of time is that again?
from the beginning of the year until approximately the last town board meeting. So we looked at the quantity of letters as a whole, which includes all four of us out of the office, right? So that was about 700 letters. Then we broke it down even further to determine which ones were specific to electric. And out of those, bear with me, 700 letters, 60 letters had been addressed for electrical violations. That's about 12% of the letters, correct? Somewhere around there. We looked at what the violations were. They were only 2 specific electrical violations that dealt with something called temporary connections and the service cables, or the electric wires attached to your house. We looked at inspections and electrical permits. That was the next question being asked. I compiled a report from the town clerk. The quantity of electrical permits filed from the beginning of the year was 510. From January, 1st until that last town board meeting. The question arose about re-inspections and how often that takes place. Those re-inspections are paid for, so that's documented as well through the town's clerk's office. We ran the report, and out of those 510, there were 18 re-inspection fees. So that's less than 0.5%.
The individuals that were asking those questions, were they provided that information?
They were not, it was just, there's personal information here, because we printed out every letter, all the reports, so it was provided to the town attorney. We removed phone numbers and things like that out of it, so it is here, just somebody, we can come look at it anytime, I guess.
So you're going to leave that in the town clerk's office or in your office? Everything's been redacted, there's no issues of concern with privacy there?
Agreed.
So the total number was only 18.
Yeah, what's that, less than 0.5% or something like that?
Wow.
So I think it's best to leave it in my office, because
Very good.
when you see the letters, they'll be hard to decipher what it was for, so.
You and your people are much more capable of explaining the issues you might see in any one of those letters.
Sure.
Whether it's electrical or otherwise.
Very good.
Last month there was one re-inspection, this month there were 2 re-inspections. I did stop by at Jeffrey's office, I pulled a random letter from one file, just to make sure that they weren't targeting or looking at somebody. All the letters say the same thing, and this one here says, please be advised, everybody gets the same message, you have 5 days to contact this office to what steps are being to correct the above captioned violation. So they're not steering anybody towards any contractor, they're not harassing everybody gets the same message when there's a violation.
Information, thanks for reminding us, Councilman Hart, that's good stuff.
I have one other issue too, regarding the table item, revision of chapter 120 zoning article 2A industrial park overlay district.
Correct.
I received a draft proposal, and I think we all received it. And after a conversation at the next work session, we may or may, depending on what the other board members wish to do, we could move forward with those revisions, which would basically take eliminate the industrial park board and place these industrial park issues with the planning board, which I think is, I personally think is a more appropriate place for these reviews. It does not eliminate the review by the town board. We will still be reviewing.
Very good. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Hanley, do you have anything for us?
A couple of things if I can. This year's budget, I know everybody gets upset with the budget, but we all look very hard at this year's budget. And the one thing I want to say is, we have $30 million that we spent on the sewer improvements in the town of West Seneca so far. We've spent the $30 million. That's part of a federal law telling us we have to do that. Now West Seneca is way ahead of the other towns around here, we really are. If we did not do those sewer improvements, the bills that we are paying today, January 2020, the fines kick in, and we would be paying $50,000 a day per violation. So the money we're spending today is for the repairs we did over the last few years, where the other boards may have kicked it down the road, kicked the can down the road and ignored the sewer problems. We have addressed it, and to the tune of $30 million. Some of the concerns that we're looking for in going forward, workers' comp. We have an aging police vehicles, a lot of our police cars are pretty old, and I believe next year we're gonna be facing a lot of retirements throughout the town. So those are issues we have to look at. So we have to think about planning the budget.
This is good stuff, and knowing that the $50,000 a day, just so everyone knows, you can't bond penalties. So that would have to come out of the general fund, and I can't imagine after 2 months at reaching $3 million in penalties, that the town would have those resources to pay those bills, because it would take you that long to get an RFP and get somebody in here to do that. But this board did not sit back. We, like I said, it's not an easy thing to do. We've gotten beaten up for it, but we had a task force to do the right thing. This town knew about this consent order since 2000 and did nothing.
I'm going to apologize to you for interrupting you, and I'll try to break that bad habit of mine.
Me too.
I was merely trying to say there's only one other town that I know of in Erie County that has term limits at this time. And of course, as I stated, I would support term limits going forward. I think it's a good idea.
And
So I
on that,
apologize.
well, that's very nice. So you feel in the law. Well, sometimes I think the public doesn't recognize the amount of work that we have. And it's incredible what we've been able to accomplish as a 3-member board. I personally am happy to see a 5-member board coming into play. I think less of representation is less of a voice for the people of this town we serve. But I think this board has worked incredibly hard, being just 3 of us, but if you knew how much stuff came that we had to take care of every day, it's a lot of work, and we don't dismiss anyone's concerns. We absolutely address them. But more importantly, I did make a request to the New York State Department of Transportation for a hawk light out in front for that easy pedestrian cross. Williamsville was afforded the opportunity for a study, a warrant study, if it warrants the hawk light. They and I just received notification today, and I see my fellow board members received the same. Our request is going to be honored, and they're going to do a investigation for that hawk light. So that's a huge step in the right direction for the town of West Seneca. So it's another positive for what we're trying to accomplish here on this campus. I'd like to thank all those men and women who serve this great country and continue to serve. And I would like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving for your faith and your family and your friends. And I'm going to close this board meeting, but anybody from any of our beautiful high schools, come on up. And I want everyone to recognize West Seneca East plays football on Friday for the championship in the Carrier Dome. So we wish them the best of luck.
All right.